I had been working with an online delivery service in Lahore for the past 2 years. In this job, meeting strange people and experiencing unusual situations is nothing new. Sometimes customers give the wrong address, sometimes you get into small arguments, and sometimes you lose your way. All of that is just part of the job. But what happened to me last month shook me to my core. After that night, I made a promise to myself that I would never work night deliveries again. It happened during last winter. After a light rainfall, the cold had become even more intense. It was around 10:30 p.m, and my shift had only 30 minutes left. I was exhausted and thinking about heading home when my phone suddenly buzzed with an urgent delivery request. It was an order from an online pharmacy. The delivery location was in an old neighbourhood filled with narrow, winding streets. Something about the order felt strange, but I convinced myself that someone might be seriously ill and urgently needed their medicine. I checked the customer's name on the app, Sajid Kamal. I started my motorcycle and picked up a brown envelope containing the medicine from the pharmacy's main warehouse. Looking at the prescription, I noticed that it contained emergency medication for a severe breathing condition. I placed the package inside my delivery bag and headed toward the drop-off location. As I continued riding, the roads became darker and quieter. The freezing wind had emptied the streets, leaving behind an eerie silence that made the entire area feel unsettling. According to the GPS, I had to enter an old residential colony filled with extremely narrow and confusing alleyways. The paths twisted in every direction, and no matter how carefully I followed the map, I couldn't find the correct route. After passing the same wall 2 or 3 times, I realised I was completely lost. I pulled my bike over and called the customer using the number provided in the app. The call was answered on the very first ring. But before anyone spoke, I heard a strange sound coming from the other end. It sounded like someone struggling to breathe. Then a heavy, weak voice spoke. It sounded like an extremely old man gasping for air after running out of breath. I said, "Mr. Sajid Kamal, I'm here with your medicine, but I can't find the correct street." In a low, raspy voice, he slowly began giving me directions. There was an unsettling crackling sound in his throat, as though it was filled with water. He said, "Go ahead, then turn left where the abandoned house stands. After that, enter the 3rd alley. I'll be waiting there." I followed his instructions and turned my motorcycle into the narrow streets. Suddenly, while he was still on the phone, I heard his breathing become much worse. It sounded as if he was suffocating. With great difficulty, he whispered, "Hurry! I can't breathe. I need my medicine immediately. Otherwise, I'll die." His desperate words filled me with fear, but I also felt sympathy for him. I accelerated my bike. However, another sound coming through the phone disturbed me. Behind his voice, I could hear something that sounded exactly like soil being dug, mixed with the sound of cold wind blowing. That strange noise made my fear grow even stronger. Finally, I entered the 3rd alley. There were only 4 or 5 old houses, all covered in darkness. At the very end of the alley, near a wall, I spotted house number 42B. I breathed a sigh of relief. At last, I had found the address. I parked my motorcycle